All right, let me move this out of my way here. All right, so I'll be using my calculator for all my graphing and stuff. So this first one wants me to graph x to the third plus 4. So y'all, if you remember, the x to the third graph is one of my basic graphs. And the basic graph rises left to right like these are doing, but it always goes through the origin of the graph. So that plus 4 being added to the end is going to take that basic graph and shift it up 4 units. So let's go to the calculator and I'll show you that real quick. All right, so I'm just going to go to y equals. So I got an A on there, so let's see if you're right on that. So what do we have? X to the third plus 4. So here I go. Got my x, exponent 3 plus 4. Oh, let me get my zoom set back, y'all. So let me go back to standard. Anytime you want it back on a 10 by 10, just go to number 6 standard. So let me arrow down to 6 and hit enter. Well, mine's sort of hard to see. Let me go back to my window real quick. That's showing something funny. Let me grab my other calculator up here. All right, let's switch it over. All right, so I'm going to go to y equals, clear that out. Then we had x to the third plus 4. So here I go. X, exponent 3, arrow right, and then do my plus 4. All right, y'all, so I'm going to see that graph. Here we go. All right, so notice it did pick it up a little bit here. So let me go to our math lab. So y'all said A, and that definitely looks like A to me, so good job. All right, y'all, then we hit next. So find the function value. They want me to find f of -4 when f of x equals 2x squared minus 3x plus 3. So y'all, I'm going to do that on the calculator. So let's pull that up. So quit the y equals screen. So I had 2x squared in place of the x. I'm going to put my -4. It's really important that you put that -4 in parentheses when you got it followed by that exponent, okay? So square that. If you don't put parentheses, you will get the wrong answer on negative numbers. All right, then it's -3 times x, which is a -4, and then plus 3. So remember, order of operations, you would do the exponent first, then do all your multiplying, then do your adding and subtracting. So y'all, that gave me 47. So let's see if that's one of them answers. So there we go, 47 was D. All right, y'all, this is on y'all. Is that a function? So I'm trying to find my chat. Where'd my chat go? So I got a no on that one. So let me remind y'all one thing. When I got a graph, if I want to know if it's a function, I run a vertical line across it left to right. So if you run a vertical line like a pencil left to right, if it intersects it more than once, it's not a function. If it intersects it only one time everywhere, then it would be yes, a function. So notice if you was to run your vertical line from the left to the right, it would only intersect it everywhere once. So that would definitely be a yes. Now it would fail the horizontal line test for being 1-to-1, but it does not fail the vertical line test, okay, y'all? All right, number 4 wants us to solve. Are y'all solving that with the matrix on the calculator, or are y'all solving that by hand? So let me know in that chat real quick. Also, I see no preferences on that one. Okay, so I'm gonna solve it by hand the quick way. Also, y'all solving it by hand. Okay, so I see there you got no batteries. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna write that problem and pull y'all to my screen where we can work this one by hand. And then I'll actually throw it in the calculator real quick. How about that? All right, y'all, so by hand, I had x minus y plus 5z equals -10. I got 4x plus z, so I'm going to put the 4x under the x and then the plus z under the z column. That's going to equal -3, and then x plus 3y plus a z equals -18. So that's my 3 equations with 3 variables. So what I'm going to do, remember, my first goal is to get 2 equations with 2 variables and get a 2-by-2 system. And then from that system, I'll eliminate one of the final 2 variables. And then once I got one of the variables, I'm going to back substitute. So here's what's nice about this problem. Since my second equation already has just 2 variables, I'm going to write it over here as one of my 2 variables that I need for the 2 systems, okay? So now that I use this row and brought it over, I got to use the other 2 rows and get rid of the y with them. Because remember, over here, I can only have x's and z's. So you get rid of the y's. This one has a -y. This one has a 3y. We're going to multiply the first equation by 3. So that gives me a -3y. And that'll cancel my y's, okay? So take the top equation, multiply everything by 3. That's going to get me a 3x minus 3y plus a 15z will now equal -30. So I multiplied that row by 3 to get that. Bring down the third equation because it's already got what we need. So x plus 3y plus z equals -18. Now, when we add these 2 rows, we'll have our second equation. So y'all, that's going to give me 4 x's. The y's cancel. 15 and 1 give me 16 z's. And then let's see, -30 and -18 is a -48. So bring that over here. 4x plus 16z equals -48. So mine worked out pretty nice for me because it's going to be pretty easy to get rid of these x's here, right? And I got a 4x here and a 4x here. They're going to be easier than trying to get the z and the 16z. Because y'all, all I got to do to solve this is multiply this top row by -1. That'll give me a -4x, a -z, and a +3. But that -4x will cancel with that x, leaving me only with z's. So let's change all the signs by multiplying by -1. -4x minus z now equals a +3. So I brought that one down. The second row, I'm just going to write under it 4x plus 16z equals negative 48. We solve that, we'll have one variable left because my x's cancel. 16 and a negative 1 leave me 15z. Negative 48, positive 3 give you what? A negative 45. So y'all look at that. One more move and we'll have the z. We'll just divide both sides by the 15. So that now z equals negative 3. So now what I would do, use any of these two equations to solve it for the x. So this is where you do the back substituting. So let's see. I like this one. 4x plus z equals negative 3. I'm going to put in a negative 3 for my z. So I got 4x minus 3 equals a negative 3. All right, y'all, what we're going to do, we're going to add 3, divide by that x. So 4x equals 0, divide by 4, and I get x equals 0. So I now know my x is 0, my z is negative 3, and that makes sense. 4 times 0 is 0, negative 3 equals negative 3. All right, what do we got left? We got to get the y. So let's see. I'm just going to go to my first equation and solve for that y. So I got x, so I'm back substituting again. X minus y plus 5z equals negative 10. X was 0, so minus my y, plus 5 times z, which is negative 3, is going to equal negative 10. All right, y'all, so bring down the negative y. 5 and negative 3 give you negative 15. That's going to equal that negative 10. All right, y'all, so I'm going to add 15, and then I'm going to take care of that negative y, okay? So I get negative y, that cancels, equals, what's that, 5? All right, y'all, one more step. Divide both sides by negative 1. Make the y positive. And we get y equals what? A negative 5. So our answer would be 0 for the x, negative 5 for the y, and negative 3 for our z. All right. I'm also going to show y'all that on the calculator, okay? So let me bring that up. All right, so I'm going to clear the screen. And then clear this screen. All right, so to do this on the calculator, I'm going to go to second x negative 1 to get that matrix, since that's blue on it. I'm going to go over to edit. All right, once I get on edit, I'm just going to hit enter. So mine's already got a 3 by 4. Must have been from when we was doing these in class back a while ago. So I'm going to hit enter. It's a 3 by 4, so I'm going to hit enter, enter. So my numbers I'm going to put in are 1 for the x, negative 1 for the y, 5 for the z. Whoops, I'm not moving what I do. So let me clear that entry. All right, so my first entry was a 1, enter. I must have not hit the enter. Okay, negative 1 for the next one, enter. 5 for that z, enter. And then negative 10 for that first row solution. Now when I hit enter, it's going to go down to my second row. I had a 4 for the x, enter. There wasn't a y, so that would be 0, enter. The z was just a 1, enter. And then negative 3 was that second row solution, and enter. Now my last row was a 1 for the X, a 3 for the Y, a 1 for the Z, and then a negative 18 for that answer. Oh, I bet since this one had big numbers on it, like 180, I bet that was the one doing those, remember the milligrams of cholesterol in the eggs and the pizza and something else I forgot. But y'all, I entered all my numbers here. So now I quit that screen by hitting second mode. Now to get it to do my operation I want, I go to second matrix again. I'm going to go to the right to the math column. I'm going to arrow down until I find the RREF. So it's B on mine, so hit enter. Now we got that operation up there. We go and grab that matrix we just made by hitting second, X negative 1. So notice you hit second, X negative 1 3 times on this problem. All right, number 1's highlighted, that 3 by 4 matrix we just did, so hit enter. And y'all, when I hit enter, the right side will be 3 numbers. My X will be first, my Y, then my Z. So I got 0 for my X. The right column is the answers. Negative 5 for the Y, and then the negative 3 for the Z. So remember, last column, starting from the top, going down, X, Y, Z. And y'all, guess what? That should be on here since we did that by hand and got that answer, and by calculator. We got 0, negative 5, negative 3, which was A. So what's nice on the multiple choice, if you make a mistake, you'll know because they probably won't have that answer up here, okay? Well, let's see what we got number 5. Find the domain. Hey, I'll let y'all answer that. A, B, C, or D for my domain. So y'all look at that. After a whole year, y'all still don't like those domains, do you? See, y'all done forgotten. Y'all done this all year. So I'll give y'all a clue. Domain covers my X values. Oh, y'all got it. There you go. I like that. D, because the X values, the first dot on the left, if you go left, is at negative 4 on the X's. You follow it to the right where the right end point is, that's at the 4. So it's definitely negative 4, 4, and it's in brackets because those points are included. So good job. We're going to go with D. So some of y'all absorbed that knowledge, right? All right, so this is one of them inequalities. So let me write this down. Y'all can't think and write at the same time. I heard that. All right, so I'm gonna go to my pad to solve that, and then I'll show you how I would graph that one. So to graph it on that calculator, or really to solve this, you got to solve it for the Y. So I need to get the 3Y by itself over here. So I'm going to subtract 6X. So that leaves me a negative 3Y. Y'all, these ain't like terms, so I'm just going to put the X's first. So negative 6X and then that minus 3. So now my next step is to divide everybody by negative 3. Now remember, I just divided by a negative on an inequality, so I'm going to turn the little inequality the other way so that it is now less than or equal. So dividing by a negative, you do flip it, so that now we get a Y less than or equal. Negative 6 divided by negative 3 makes that a 2X. Negative 3 divided by that negative 3 makes that a plus 1 at the end. So at this point, I could actually go to my calculator, graph it and shade it and everything. So these were the ones where we shaded. So, and by hand, I would just pick numbers for my X, fill out my little table for my Y values, plot those. Remember, that's less than or equal, so it's going to be a solid line and shade below. So let's go graph it. I'm going to go to Y equals, clear that out. So I'm going to put in my 2X plus 1. So remember, on the very top, on the left side of the Y1, you want to arrow over to the left side of the Y1 on your calculator until that's blinking. Once that's blinking on the newer calculators, you hit enter. And it's changing it on this one. So I had less than, so I'm going to hit enter until I got it on less than. Now remember, if you got the TI-84 CEs, when you go to the left side, it'll bring up a little box and you can pick out what color you want to shade it, then go down and pick out shade above or below. So shade below was the triangle facing the bottom. So now I'm going to go to graphs and it shaded that bottom right corner. So let's go see what MathLab has. So mine was what, the bottom right corner? So I guess that's this one right here. The difference is they're using 12s on theirs instead of, notice on mine. Let me see what my range was. Oh, mine need to set my window to a normal window. So let me go to 6. And all right. All right, y'all. So let's go choose that one, bottom right. That was B, it looks like. And then move on. Oh, y'all, look at this, a ladder one. So I definitely need to write down the important stuff and do this one by hand. So a ladder's on the wall, touches the wall at 9 feet. So that's how high up the wall that the top of the ladder is hitting it. Then it says find the length of the ladder if the length is 3 feet more than its distance from the wall. So 3 feet more. All right, so I'm going to bring this down. Now remember, we're looking for how long this ladder is. So that one, unfortunately, we got to do by hand. So y'all, here's a wall, and here's a ladder leaning up on that wall. I know this. This length over here is 9 feet. Now, I don't know this distance and this distance, but I know if we let this part down here be X, the ladder would be 3 feet more, which would be an X plus 3. So we're going to use what to solve that? Y'all remember that name of that? And I don't care if y'all don't spell it really right. There you go, Pythagorean theorem. And let's see, hey, you actually, oh, you almost had it right. You got that theorem part, but you got the hard part, the Pythagorean on it. All right, so that means A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And C always has to be the longest side. It's always across from what we call a right angle. So, and I'm just going to let this be A and that be B. So let's see what we got. A is X, so you're going to have X squared plus B, which is 9 squared, equal to your X plus 3 squared. All right, y'all, here we go. Bring down the X squared. 9 squared would be 81. So the X plus 3 squared, I'm going to do on the side over here. Figure out what that's going to give me. That's going to be X plus 3 times X plus 3. So you got to FOIL that. Oh, there you go. You got that theorem fixed. Good job. All right, y'all, here we go. X squared plus 3X plus 3x plus 9. So I'm going to add the middle, so I get x squared plus 6x plus 9. So let's put that on the right side, x squared plus 6x plus 9. All right, y'all, so to solve that, you got these x squared terms. So you need all the x squared terms on one side equal to 0. So I'm going to move my x squareds by subtracting x squared from that side, which means I'm going to subtract it from that side. Oh, but look, those x squareds cancel. Those x squareds cancel. So all that leaves me is an 81 equal to a 6x plus 9. So now it's not quadratic. All I got to do is solve that for that x. So I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. 81 minus 9 give me what? 72 equal to my 6x. All right, divide everybody by 6. So let's see, that's going to cancel, leaving my x. 72 divided by 6, that's what, y'all? That's like, that has to be what, 12? So how long is that ladder? Oh, I got one of y'all. So definitely 15, because remember my ladder, you got to go back and add through that, add that 3 to it. So the ladder was x, which was 12, plus 3, which gives us our 15. But I can guarantee you, when we go look at that answer, I bet they got 12 on there. And look, they got 12 on D, but remember, they're going to try to trick you into not adding that 3 feet, okay? So go D15 and move on. All right, y'all, find the domain of this. So we got what, a x squared minus 4 on the bottom, and the top is an x squared plus 8x plus 15. So I'm gonna do this one by hand. So let me go to my pad. And remember, this is a fraction. Y'all are finding domain on. Y'all done this on at least 2 of my tests for sure. And it's always the same. To find a domain, I'm going to set that bottom equal to 0. All right, so if you wanted to use quad on this on your calculator, quad A would be 1, B would be 0 because you don't have an x in the middle. C would be -4. But I'm going to factor it so that y'all get good at factoring. This is called the difference of perfect squares. And when you factor perfect squares, they always end up as those conjugate pairs. So the x squared would give me an x and an x. The 4 is negative, so you got a positive and a negative. The square root of 4 is 2, so you would put a 2 and a 2. Okay? So these always take the square root of that last number, throw it in, and be done. So then you would set both these equal to 0 to see what your numbers are. So basically, you're just changing everybody's signs on this step. This one's -2. This one gives you +2. So remember, quad, once you put that in, it would have spit out them 2 numbers right there. So your domain on a fraction like this is going to start at -infinity. Then you're going to cruise along that x-axis till you hit that -2. We're going to union around -2, because remember, by unioning, that kicks them out of my domain. So from -2, I'm going to cruise until I hit that +2. I'm going to union around that +2. And from that 2, there's no more numbers that made it undefined. So I'm cruising off towards +infinity. All right, so we need one that looks like that on Math Lab. So let's go find that. So -infinity, -2, 2, +infinity. It looks like I'm going with A. Now, look at that. They put a 3 and 5 in case you mess with that top. They put a 4 and a 4, I guess, in case you didn't factor that. So they got little tricky answers on there, okay? All right. Oh, yeah, we better write this one down because this is one of the trickier ones. So let me write that down. F of x equals 3x squared plus 9x. So this is one we had to figure out and construct and simplify the difference quotient. Now they give you the formula right there. F of x plus h minus f of x over h. So let's go work this. All right, so the first step is figure out what is f of x plus h. So that'll be 3, put an x plus h where the x's are. And then plus my 9 times the x plus h. All righty. So I got an x plus h squared here. And a while back, I told y'all to write that down when we were doing these problems because it's the same for every one where you got an x squared and you're putting in an x plus h squared. So that's a good part of your notes to know. So back when we did this, we FOILed this thing. We had an x plus h times the x plus h. That always gave us x squared plus 2hx's plus h squared. I think I even told y'all to get a tattoo if you wanted to remember that. Now, you did one with the x plus h to the third, but we don't have to use it on this test, so we won't worry about that, okay? All right, y'all, so I'm going to bring down that 3. I'm going to replace x plus h squared with what we just got right here. X squared plus 2hx plus h squared, and then bring down my plus 9 times x plus h. So y'all, that's what you're going to be using on your study guide and test also. All right, so right here, I'm going to distribute the 3 through the first parentheses, the 9 through the second parentheses. So I get 3x squared plus 6hx plus 3h squared. Then I get a plus 9x plus 9h. And y'all, I'm going to put that in parentheses because that's what f of x plus h equals. And then it was minus my f of x. Well, they gave me f of x. That was 3x squared plus 9x. And then all that's being divided by the h. So these were sort of neat. Anything in this parentheses will automatically cancel with its counterpart over here. 3x squared cancels with that negative 3x squared. Because remember, both of these are really negative because you got that subtraction there. And then guess what? That 9x and that 9x, since that's a negative 9x, are going to cancel. So everything from the f of x always canceled with itself over here. All that's always left are the h stuff. So let's bring down all the h stuff on the top. 6hx plus 3h squared plus 9h all over that h. So can I ask y'all something? Am I done with that? Good job. We're definitely not done. Because we got h's everywhere. So we need to cancel one h from the top with that h on the bottom. And remember, it's got to do everything to it. And then it will definitely be done when I cancel out the h's. So cancel that one h out, leaves you a 6x plus 3. Cancel one of these two h's with an h, leaves me an h. And then here you have a 9h, cancel that h out, leaving a 9. So good job. Then we are definitely done. So let's look for that in our math lab. All right, 6x plus 3h plus a 9 looks like D. So now we get to move on. All righty, this one says graph the function. So I'm just going to go right into my calculator. That's a -2 square root of x. Now remember that negative is going to reflect it over the x-axis. So let's go to our calculator. Go to y equals. Now the first thing I'm going to do when I'm going to clear that, to see that cleared out the triangle so that mine won't shade, okay? If you got a new calculator CE and you don't want to have to clear your shading stuff, go down to y2 and put your equation in. Now see, I can go down to y2 and put these in. So I had a -2 square root, which is second x squared, and then put in my x. So y'all let me hit graph and see what happens. So see, it reflected it over the x, and it goes sort of downhill to the right. So now I know I can go to my math lab. Reflected over the x, goes down to the right. Only one that it can be was C. So I'm going to hit C and move on. All right, so this one wants us to find intervals where it's increasing, decreasing, and constant. So increasing is going uphill. So the very last part of this is going uphill. So we need to find what x value that thing started at. So it looks like if I go to where it's going uphill and I go straight down to the x-axis, looks like that's at +4. So at +4 on the x-axis, it starts going uphill as I head towards infinity. So we know that's going to be from 4 to infinity increasing. So let's see who's got that so far. So that one's got it going backwards. So it's going to be, it's got to be either B or C at this point. Both of them have 4 to infinity. So now let's look at decreasing. Decreasing is coming in from the left, which means it's coming in from -infinity. And it decreases on the x-axis if I go straight down to where it starts going straight across. That's what at -4. So that's going -4 to, -infinity to -4. So yeah, C's out of the question at that point, right? Because it's -4 to positive infinity. So it's going to have to be B. And to verify that, the straight line starts at -4 and quits at 4. So good job on that. Jordan had B, good job. Remember, on this increasing, decreasing, and constant, I'm only worried about x values, okay? All right, how can the graph of negative in parentheses x minus 10 squared plus 10 be obtained from the basic graph of an x squared? So start with the parentheses first. That -10 is attacking the x. It's going either left or right. What y'all think? So that -10, oh, I got y'all on that. So yeah, it's going to go to the right. Remember, when you're attacking the x's, it always goes opposite what you think. So it's going to go right 10. The negative out front is going to flip me over the x-axis. And then what's that 10 doing? So let's see, y'all are saying B. So let's say shift it 10 units to the right, reflected. Oh, you're almost right, but one thing's getting you. We didn't shift over the y-axis. Yeah, we flipped over the x-axis. So let's see, 10 right, reflected across the x, 10 up. So learn that lesson. Although they got the left and right part right, the up part, don't let them get you on x and y, okay? So on this question, it only flips across the x. The time when we flipped across the y-axis was when we made exponents negative in that chapter 9 stuff, okay? All right, y'all, let me write that one down. X squared minus 12x plus 61. All right, so I'm going to go to paper and work that. That's quadratic stuff when we're finding zeros. A is 1, B is negative 12, C is 61. So the formula was X equal negative B, which will be a negative times my negative 12, plus or minus the square root B squared, which is negative 12, minus 4 times A, which is 1, and C, which is 61. All that over 2 times A, which is 1. So really, it's just a lot of simplifying. The negative times the negative 12 makes that a positive 12, plus or minus. Negative 12 squared is a positive 144. Once again, since you're putting in a negative number, you got to put it in parentheses. All right, y'all, over here, I got negative 4 times 1 times 61. So what's that going to give me? 244, it looks like. So that'll be minus 244 all over 2 times 1, which is 2. All right, let's do this work in here. 12 plus or minus 144 minus 244 is going to give me a negative 100 all over 2. So bring down to 12 plus or minus. You got to now do that radical. That radical has a square root of negative 100. So I would ask y'all, what is the square root of a negative 100? Oh, you're so close, but what you going to do about that negative? Well, I will write the 10, but remember, you got to put something else on that because you got a negative under that radical. So how about I? There you go. And then under that is a 2. So if it's positive, you just bring out that number. But remember, if it's negative, that's going to be imaginary numbers. So now, since both of these numbers on top will divide by 2, we got to do that to this problem. So 12 divided by 2 is 6, plus or minus 10i divided by 2 is a 5i. And y'all, if you go to quad on your calculator, A1, B negative 12, C 61, remember, it's going to give you a decimal the first time. Oh, no, it should go straight to imaginary on this answer, okay? So it should give you 6 plus 5i and 6 minus 5i. So let's go see what MathLab has on that. So they're using the 6 plus or minus 5i, so I'm going to go with D. Now watch out for C, they got a negative on that one, okay? All right, find the vertex. I'll write that one down real quick. So that is a 4x squared plus 16x plus 18. Now, y'all look at these answers. 2 of these have a 2 for the x, a negative 3, negative 2. Usually this one will have 4 different numbers for the x. But that's cool. So to find the vertex, we're going to use the formula negative b over 2a, and then f of negative b over 2a. So if I get a 2, I know I got to go further. But if I get one of them other 2 answers, I think a 4 or negative 2, then I can stop because it's got to be one of those 2, okay? So let's do this. For the x value, we're going to do negative b over 2a, which will be negative 16 over 2 times 4. So let's see, that gives me negative 16 over 8, which is a negative 2. So I know the x value is negative 2. So I know which answer it'll be now because only one had a -2 for the x. But to get the y value, you would take this equation and put -2 in for the x's. So you got 4 times -2 squared plus 16 times -2 plus 18. So y'all, let's see. -2 squared is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 and -2 give you -32 plus 18. So add left and right. 16 minus 32 is a -16 plus 18, which gives me 2. So my answer should be a -2, +2. So let's go look. So -2, +2. So I told you, once you got that -2, you know you got the right answer on that, okay? All right, find the zeros. So to find the zeros, you're only worried about factors that have a variable. That 4 up in the front don't have a variable with it, so cross it out and get rid of it. All I'm worried about is this factor x plus 6 squared, and then this factor x minus 6 to the third. So the 2 is the multiplicity for the first parentheses. The 3 is the multiplicity of the second parentheses. So to find the zeros, you're going to take the x plus 6, set it equal to 0. And solving that, all you're going to do is move the 6 to the other side and change its sign. So that 0 gave you a -6 with a multiplicity of 2. So let's see, that could be A. Well, it's got to be A, right? Because if we solve the second one, x minus 6, set that equal to 0, you would add 6 to both sides. So basically, you're just changing their signs. So that would be a +6, multiplicity 3. So there was the -6, 2, 6, multiplicity 3. Pick that. That 4 is not a 0, okay, because it does not have a variable. All right, y'all, moving on. They want to graph this function. So I'm going to show you one of the easiest ways is to put this in your calculator. So I got a -x, x plus 2 squared, and then an x minus 4 squared. So let me go grab that calculator, and I'm going to show you how to set the window. See, these y values are going from -240 all the way to 240. And the x's are going from -5, or it looks like -6 to 6. So let me see, that was 240s and 6s. So I'm going to show you how to set that calculator window and knock this out exactly like that looks. So I'm going to go to y equals. I'm going to clear my y2 because I was using it a while ago. And then I'll just zip back up to y1 for this. So we had a -x. And then parentheses, x plus 2, close parentheses, and square it. Then I had a parenthesis, x minus 4, close parentheses, and that one was to the third power. Now, to set the window, I'm going to go to the window button, the second one, right next to the y equals. Hit window. My x minimum was -6. Arrow down. My x maximum was a +6. Arrow down. Y minimum was a -240. Y maximum, arrow down, was a +240. Now hit graph. So look, my graph sort of starts on the bottom, touches that -2, then turns back down. Then it goes up to the origin and then sort of down on that right side. So we got our picture. So let's go to Math Lab. So y'all remember what that looks like when I go to the Math Lab, okay? All right, so y'all, that was looking like what? It looks like C. Was that it? It went up, touched it, sort of came down, went through the center, and there we go. So we got a C, and move on. All right, this one says find the vertical asymptotes. So y'all, let me write that one down real quick. That is a x squared plus 2x minus 15 over x squared minus 4x minus 21. So quickest way, y'all, is hit that with the quad on your calculator. And vertical asymptotes are like domains. We're looking for the parts where it's undefined. So ABC quad. So I'm gonna solve it by factoring though. So we set that equal to 0. Oh, so let me go to my screen. So I'm gonna take my equation and set it equal to 0, and I'm just gonna factor it. So x squared is an x and an x. That last sign is negative, so that means one of these is positive, one of those is negative. Now, since the middle is negative, my larger of the two factors will be negative. So I need factors of 21, that'll subtract and give me a 4. That's going to be 7 and 3. So we done said here the larger factor had to be negative like the middle. So the 7 will be negative, 3 is positive. All right, y'all, once we solve these, so I got what, a 7 and negative 3. I think you're good on that. All right, I'm just going to solve these for the x's. Good job. You got that perfect. X is definitely negative 3. And then adding to the second one, x is definitely a 7. Now, you would have to sort of watch out. And I would probably do the quad on top. Because if quad gives you either a negative 3 or 7, you have to cancel it. But y'all, every one I've done on this test, none of them canceled. So mine would be what, a 7 and negative 3. Now watch out. They're putting y's there, and we are not putting y's for the answer. It's got to be the x's. Okay. So it looks like what they did on this one, they just switched up the signs for A, and they switched up the variable for B. Only way you'll get y's on these is if you're doing horizontal asymptotes. And I don't even think there was horizontal on this one. All right, y'all, what do we got here? G of f of 6. This was that golf and fog stuff. So let me write f of x down. F is what? Negative 5x plus 2. G is a negative 9x squared plus 7x plus 6. Oh, wonderful. They gave us a nice one for this, didn't they? So let's go to our paper. The good thing about that is they have a 6 there, okay? So I'm going to go to the paper. So to find G of f of 6, you take the 6 and put it into the f equation first. So remember, I go left to right on the order on this, okay? So I got to find f of 6 first. So f of 6 will be this equation, putting the 6 in for the x. So that's going to give you negative 5 times 6 plus 2. So y'all, that's what? Negative 30. Negative 30 plus 2 gives me a negative 28. So now that f of 6 is negative 28, we're going to put that negative 28 into the G equation. So we'll have G of negative 28. Whoa, that's going to be a big number, y'all. Watch. Negative 9 times negative 28 squared plus 7 times negative 28 plus 6. All right, so I'm going to pull out my hand calculator to do this real quick for us. So I got negative 9, parentheses, negative 28, close parentheses and square it, plus 7 times negative 28, plus 6. All right, y'all. Woo, that gave me a negative 7,246. So we're really going to be happy if we see that on that math lab, okay? Oh, look at that. A, negative 7,246. So hit A and let's move on. Now, this wants me to do the same thing, but they did not give us a variable for this one with a number, okay? They just gave me an X. So let me write these down. F is 4x squared plus 6x plus 8. G is a 6x minus 4. They want me to find G of F of X. Well, they toughened up on this final, didn't they? So let's go to our paper. So G of F of X means I'm going to take the F of X and put it into the X's for that G of X. Okay? Take the F of X and put it into the G of X. So here's my F of X. I'm going to put all of this in for that one X. So that'll be 6 times the 4x squared plus 6x plus 8. And at the end is the minus 4. So y'all distribute that 6 through the parentheses. 6 times 4 is 24x squared. 6 times 6x is 36x. 6 times 8 is 48. And then at the end is our negative 4. So y'all, I guess all we can really do is those like terms at the end. So the 24x squared will stay. 36x will stay. 48 minus 4 is what? 44. All right, so let's see what Math Lab has for us on that. So we had 24x squared plus a 36x. Oh, look at that. On this one, if you added 4 instead of subtracted it, that would have gave you C. So see, they got one mistake and you can get C if you added that instead of subtracted it. All right, y'all, so B is it. So let's move on. All right, this one says determine if it's 1-to-1. If it's 1-to-1, find the inverse. It's F of X equals 8x plus 6. So let me tell y'all one thing I know for sure. 100% of these will be 1-to-1. You will not pick not 1-to-1, because if you do, you're going to miss it. This question always has an inverse. So let's go solve this for the inverse. So first thing I do is replace f of x with a y. So I get y equals 8x plus 6. So do y'all remember what I do next when I'm looking for my inverse? Okay, so y'all are saying no. Remember, at this point, I switch my x and y around. Switch that x and y around so that you get x equals 8y plus 6. So y'all, all we got to do now is solve that for that y. So to get the y by itself, we're going to subtract 6. So those ain't like terms, so you're going to get x minus 6 equals 8y. Then I need that to be a 1y, so I'm going to divide both sides by the 8. So I get an x minus 6 over 8 equal to my y. Now remember, your very last step was to replace the y with the f inverse notation. which was the f-1 of x. And that's going to equal x minus 6 over 8. Can't do nothing to simplify that. So we need to find the x minus 6 over 8 in our math lab. And see, they already write that f-1 of x for us. So let's see. Oh, the top one's being added. So I need, looks like C. Now, what hurt them on that last one is the x minus 6. When you divide by 8, everything on that other side has to be divided by the 8, not just the x. All right, so we got that. We're moving on. All right, y'all, I'm going to graph this one, but remember, all these graphs go through 0, 1, and that -3, since I'm attacking the x, is actually going to move it to the right 3 spaces. So which one went right, A, B, C, or D? So let's see. A got flipped because remember these graphs go up. Remember these graphs go uphill left to right. So since that A was flipped over, we didn't have no reflections. B, if you remember, it was crossing at the 0, 1, but yeah, B went to the right. C went down. It didn't go right. C went down. And then looks like D went left. So y'all, actually the one that went right would be B. So let's go verify that. Calculator. Go to y equals. Figure that out. And what did I have? 2 to the exponent x minus 3. Now, I'm going to hit zoom real quick to get my window back to a 10 by 10. And to do that, you arrow down to 6 for standard and hit enter. That'll bring our, because remember, I had mine set at all that 240 stuff. Oh, y'all, look at that. It sort of did. It moved it to the right. So I think y'all was right when y'all said B on that one, right? So B did go right. So, yeah, everybody hates graphs a lot. All right, convert to a logarithmic equation. So the base is 2. So when you write log, you would have a subscript of 2 for the log. The result is 8. So that would be log base 2 of 8 is going to equal the exponent of a, is that a 3 there? Yeah, that's a 3. So I need 3 equals log base 2 of 8, and that's which one? That'd be D, right? So remember, the exponent equals the log of the base and the result. All right, y'all, so we're going D, we're going to hit enter. Express as sums or differences. Now, the reason I didn't make y'all do that on test 4, because I knew it was on this final. And I didn't want to kill y'all with this, but you had to do it on your review. So let me write that down. Log base B, M4, P6 over N9, B3. All righty, so I'm going to go to my pad. So remember, if it's on top, it's written positive. If it's on bottom, it's written negative. Just distribute that log B to everybody. So log B of M4 plus log B of P6. These are on bottom, so they're going to be subtracted. Minus log B of N9 minus log B of B to the third. All right, next, move all the exponents down to the front. So I get 4 log B of M plus 6 log B of P minus 9 log B of N minus, So y'all, here's the thing about the end. When I bring that 3 down, I'm going to have 3 log b of b. But remember, oh, y'all done got that. Perfect. 3 for sure, because the log b of b equals 1. So since that equals 1, we just bring down our 3. Boy, y'all, I'm going to watch y'all pretty quick on that. So y'all, that's final answer. So let's go find that. And notice, I don't know what they did to B. C, they got close, but they put a +3, remember. D, they put multiplication in here. Although they got the right numbers, they put multiplication. So ours had to be A for sure, okay? Just watch that, because you might miss that little multiplication sign there if you don't watch carefully, okay? That's sort of cruel for Math Lab to do, ain't it? Oh, we only got 2 more, y'all, so let's knock this out. Now, we didn't want to make you do all the solving for the K and stuff. So on this one, we gave you the formula. All we're going to do is put in how many years? 6. We're going to replace that T with a 6 in the formula. So let me write down, I got what, 7,600 e to the 0.03 T, and it's for 6 years. So we're going to go plug 6 in for that T and see what we get. So back to the calculator. I'm going to quit the y equals stuff. Clear that. All right, so the formula was 7,600. And then e to the 0.03 T. So I'm going to use the second ln to get that e with the exponent. And for that exponent, I'm going to put a 0.03 times T, which was what, 6 years? So y'all, let's hit enter. So 9,098.85. So let's go look for that. So, oh, they're rounding to the nearest dollar. So I had what, 9,098 point. So mine rounded up from a 88, I mean a 98 to a 99, it looks like. So we definitely won't see. All right, y'all, 25. Last one on here. We got a 4 to the 12 minus 3x equals 4,096. So I'm going to go to paper and solve that real quick. So on this final, y'all, you will be able to rewrite this number using that base. So let me write down this left side. And what I'm going to do on this calculator is start with 4 and see how many times I got to multiply by 4 to get to that 4,096. So I would do 4 times 4 is 16 times 4 is 64. So that's 3 times 4 is 256. That's 4 times 4 is 1024. That was 5 times 4, 4,096. I did that 6 times. Okay. So since I did that 6 times, I'm going to rewrite this as 4 to the 6th power. You're going to be able to rewrite your base as that number, okay? So now, bases match, so that means 12 minus 3x has to equal to 6. So anytime our bases match, the exponents got to match. All right, y'all, watch this. I'm going to subtract 12. I get negative 3x equals a negative 6. Divide both sides by negative 3. Remember, flip your equals because you're dividing by negatives. And then x will equal a negative 6 divided by negative 3 makes that a positive 2. So let's go find a 2 on this. And we're happy because C is 2. So then we're going to go to the next one. Oh, hold on. That was our last one, right? All right, y'all, let's submit this thing and see what happens. Oh, what did it say we did bad? Let me go to 16. It's saying I missed one. Did I skip one? Oh, y'all told me that graph was C, so let's see. Ours must have been D. Oh, you know what I did, I think, on that one? I think I forgot to put that first negative in it, didn't I? I think I did an x plus squared. Because it should have took this graph and flipped it over. I don't think I put the negative on that one. But we'll be fixed for that on the test. You watch. All righty, so y'all, any questions on that final? So don't be like me and not put your negative in there though, because apparently I did and I kept moving on. Okay. All righty, y'all. So here's the plan. I will open the final exam May 4th. The final exam will close May 8th. Okay, that'll be on a Sunday night. So May 8th, that final will shut down. Your entire math lab is going to shut down. So you got about a week and a half to get everything done that you can, okay? Because what happens after May 8th, it's going to automatically put zeros into any work that ain't done. Okay. Also, if you're in the support class, you should see a support assessment quiz. We just want y'all to do that to see how that support part helped you. It's not going to affect your grade at all. We just use it for assessment to see if you learned a little bit of that support stuff, okay? So I don't have any more questions. So your final exam will cover those 25 questions. So knock out your test 4 by this Sunday. That'll keep you on track. And then next week, like I said, I'll open that on May the 4th. Technically, you don't have class Tuesday night because that's what we call a student study day. So if y'all need me, just email me and I'll try to hook up if I can, okay? So y'all, other than that, I enjoyed this class. Y'all were pretty active all year, so it made it fun, okay? And y'all have good luck on everything. Remember, once you take the final, if your lowest test is lower than that final, I'm going to replace it with that final grade, okay? And then I will drop 2 low homework grades and 1 low quiz. Okay? So if you got 1 or 2 homeworks you didn't get done, those will drop off. All right, y'all. So that's all I got. So I'm going to end our meeting. I mean, the recording for sure.